anotimisa tokubvisa mabhurukwa ngochitaka chamuka 2030 takabuka vachiratidza utsinye kundamai azuka geza nekusaida chichi anoridza luka asi matira mabhaisi zvinhu zvaitika ingochitaka chamuka 2030 takabuka vachiratidza utsinye kundamai azuka geza nekusaida chichi anoridza luka asi matira mabhaisi zvinhu zvaitika.
Right, 2 July 2025, and today I'm excited to be giving you an update on all the important stuff that's happening in Zimbabwe. And today is General Chiwenga's birthday. So General Chiwenga is the most newsworthy person in Zimbabwe right now. Almost everyone wants to post something about Chiwenga, and the reason is there is poor leadership in our country. So people are looking for a leader. And therefore, every time we post about Chiwenga, I get thousands and thousands of people coming. Like this morning, we posted about Chiwenga. This whole week, we've been posting about Chiwenga. And it's crazy. People just go there and watch. And they want to know what this man is going to do for Zimbabwe. So today's video that I did has got 28,000 views. That is just on Chiwenga. And yesterday, Mdara Geza's video has got 32,000 views. So you can see how popular Chiwenga is. Everybody wants to know what is happening with the Chiwenga. So happy birthday, Mdara. Let's see what we can give the people about Chiwenga. So, you know, if it was me, I was going to be singing my song, Happy Birthday, Mdara. So I'll ask the guys to compose a song for Chiwenga so that we can play for him next time he has a birthday. So let's look at Chiwenga's history. You can go to gambakwe.com. Everything I'm going to be talking about here is already on gambakwe.com. So our guys have done a compilation of what I'm going to talk about here. If you're in a hurry, you can quickly look and see what is all about Chiwenga. So Chiwenga is the vice president of Zimbabwe right now, and people are looking to see him as the president of Zimbabwe very soon. So at the moment, Chiwenga is engaged in a battle against corruption. And this started some time back. However, this has become the most important thing in Zimbabwe. And let's go back to how Chiwenga ended up where he is today. And as I said, you can go and see this on Gambakwe. Chiwenga started off and was born on 2 July 1956 in Wedza. So that is today, it's his birthday, in Mashonaland East Province. He attended St. Mary's Mission School in Wedza, completing O-level or Form 3 before leaving school in 1973 to join the liberation struggle. And so far, his highest level of education is a doctorate from the University of KwaZulu-Natal, which he obtained in 2015 in ethics, philosophy of ethics. So you understand why Chiwenga is so much into corruption. This man is ethical in terms of his studies. He likes ethics. So that is Chiwenga. And as I said, you can go to gambakwe.com right now and you can read through this with me. Our guys have compiled. And those guys who know the stuff we don't know, you can tell me and we can edit. So no one knows who his mother and father are. No one has ever said in public. So no one has ever disclosed all his siblings, who are his brothers and sisters. No one knows this information, although I know someone who knows. So that is Chiwenga. When he went to the War of Liberation, he did so well that he went into what is called the Zanla High Command in the late 70s. So he arrived in 1973. In the late 70s, he was already in the Zanla High Command. And the Zanla High Command had Mugabe as the political leader or commander-in-chief. And the overall military commander was Rex Nongo or Solomon Mujuru. Then the political commissar was Josiah Tungamirai, and Chiwenga was the deputy political commissar to Tungamirai. Then Joyce Mujuru at that time was the head of women's affairs or secretary for women's affairs, with Salim Gabi as deputy secretary for women's affairs. So Mujuru was actually in charge and on top of Salim Gabi. And then there were obviously other senior members, including people who were in the secretarial pool, like Muchangwa. She was in the secretarial pool, and I believe that one of the other secretaries was Opa Muchinguri. She was one of the secretaries, together with, I stand to be corrected here, guys. So correct me if I'm wrong, but my understanding is that these guys were secretaries. So the top person was Maim Juru, who was inside the high command. That means they were on the front, while people like Mutwangwa and the others were secretarial. Then there was what is called Dare Richimurenga. So remember what I'm giving you is the hierarchy. Chiwenga was very high in the military. Within 4 years, he became very high in the military. But there was something called the Dare Richimurenga. And Dare Richimurenga had Herbert Chitepo, who was the chairman, Noel Mukono, who was external affairs, Henry Hamadziripi, who was finance, and Mukudzei Mudzi, who was in administration. So let us clarify that structure. Remember, I'm showing you 1973 and above. There were other structures before, but the constant are the 4 people that I've given you here. And then Nathan Shamiarira was briefly inside this Richimurenga, and Stanley Pari Rewa was over here. Kumbirai Kangai, those guys, Rugare Gumbo, they were on here as administrator. So let me show you who was an administrator. There was Kumbirai Kangai, Rugare Gumbo, John Mataure, and Josiah Tongogara was in defense. So you can see who was in defense. It was Josiah Tongogara. You know the link between Josiah Tongogara and the people in the secretarial pool. So guys in the front rarely interacted with people in the secretarial pool, but Josiah Tongogara and Mujuru and who else here had a relationship in the secretarial pool, Mugabe. Those guys had close links to people in the secretarial pool. And I think that's how they got a connection to what was going on. So Chiwenga, then obviously on leaving the military, the liberation struggle, came back to Zimbabwe. In 1978, so that is the time when he was deputy political commissar and second in command to Josiah Tungamirai. So that was just at the end of the war. Chiwenga by that time had become the most influential figure in the military of Zimbabwe inside of Mozambique. I mean, people who actually handle a gun. He was a top guy inside the military. So in 1976, he came from the Geneva Conference and went back to Mozambique. That's when he became the political commissar. On 4 December 1979, he had a significant meeting with Josiah Tungamirai in Maputo, discussing the final stages of the liberation struggle. And on 9 December 1979, commanded a force of approximately 500 men and women and crossed into Zimbabwe, preparing for the transition. So Chiwenga then went into Zimbabwe. He is one of the people that went into a dangerous place. And then in 1980, there was independence, which means Chiwenga then prepared for everyone else to come back. And in the 1980s, in 1981, he was the brigadier commanding the 1st Brigade in Bulawayo. So in Bulawayo, that is Apopa Mberipe, as you drive out of Bulawayo towards Harare, that is where he was. And then obviously, you can read the rest on gambakwe.com. There's a lot there about what happened in the 80s. In 2003, he served as chairman of the JOC, coordinating Zimbabwe's state agencies. And then after the retirement of General Vitalis Navashe, he was promoted to the commander of the Zimbabwe Defense Forces, overseeing the army, the air force, and the other security forces. This position was created for him. So there was no such position before he became the commander of the Zimbabwe Defense Forces. On 18 December 2017, he announced the pending retirement from the military. You know what had happened previously with the removal of Mugabe. He played a key role in the removal of Mugabe. Now let's go to his health. Remember, he was sworn in December 28, on 28 December 2017. He became vice president. And he, at that point, stayed in the army. He was commanding the army and also was in government in two positions. So he was a VP and was also in charge of defense. So in 2019, Chiwenga started to fall sick. And this started a period where you now knew Gambakwe. That's when I covered Chiwenga like nobody's business. I remember before I went into my office every morning, would cover Chiwenga's illness. And most of you, I remember that period, it was so crazy. Like Chiwenga's people would call me and say, Gambakwe, what are you talking about? And they knew what I was talking about. We'll get so many tips. Chiwenga is in this hospital. Chiwenga is in that hospital. So that was Chiwenga over here, very sick. And on this particular day, I got a call that Chiwenga's passing was imminent. I got this call on this very day. And I drove to Pretoria to look for Chiwenga when he was said to be on the deathbed. So you can go and see this on gambakwe.com. It's over there. It's the story at the top. And obviously, he went to China. So let's see when he went to China. So on 2 to 3 February 2019, due to worsening condition, Chiwenga was airlifted to hospital in Cape Town for emergency medical treatment. His condition became serious, and he was then moved to China. Chiwenga remained under medical care abroad for an extended period, and he only came back way back. I think he ended up coming back late 2019. And on the day Chiwenga came back, I got a call from someone that I won't mention to say Chiwenga is coming tomorrow. I could not believe that Chiwenga had survived, because my understanding is that Chiwenga had suffered a stroke and he was no longer able to walk. So everyone was shocked to see Chiwenga with the Chinese at the airport arriving. And he did not even get anyone from government, because everyone was doing what is called chipata, pata, kutiza. Sekuru Jo, where is Sekuru Jo? Sekuru Jo was there, I think, if I'm not mistaken. Sekuru Jo was one of the people that received Chiwenga. I'm not sure if she was already the ambassador of China to Zimbabwe at that time. Chiwenga then went and lived, in my understanding, at the embassy of China or inside the embassy of China for an extended period until he was totally healed. And this is the Chiwenga that you know right now. The Chiwenga that has become someone of a big significance inside of the government of Mnangagwa. There has been massive problems starting approximately 5 years ago, when a faction started to arise that opposed Mnangagwa and one that opposed Chiwenga. And at first, the faction was military, so there was a military dimension to the faction. However, the military generals were then decimated. So multiple generals died. Almost everyone who worked with Chiwenga has passed away. And not only that, there has been a reconfiguration of the military structures, such that if you look at the command that Chiwenga had and what is left, there is literally no one left. And there is literally no one who was in the same seat with Chiwenga when they announced the coup, who is still alive. I think, if I'm not mistaken, almost all of them are gone. So we are now where we are, where Chiwenga is seen as the next president of Zimbabwe. It's obvious he's the next in command. The question is, why is this so contagious? The reason why it's so contagious is because Mnangagwa has announced a 2030. He wants to go to 2030, and this is being resisted across ZANU-PF. So this is what is defining Chiwenga right now. What kind of a man is Chiwenga? What kind of a man is walking in the footsteps of Mugabe? If you look at what Chiwenga is doing right now, a Catholic, and the second person in the Zimbabwe government to meet the Pope. So he's the second person to meet the Pope. This is amazing. This has never been seen. It is happening only for the second time. And what is defining Chiwenga is his lack of public expression on the leadership question. You have never heard Chiwenga speaking about the leadership question. You only hear him talk about corruption, about governance, about the people's wishes. However, is that enough? Is that enough to become a president? Can Chiwenga fight against the crew that wants to take over? So Chiwenga is currently, if I'm not mistaken, 68 years old, which means in 20 years' time, Chiwenga is still going to be very strong and is still going to be around. That includes, if you look at Mnangagwa, if I'm not mistaken, is 84 or something like that. This means we've got this man for quite a while. What kind of government is Chiwenga going to give us? What kind of resistance is he going to face, given that we have a new group around Mnangagwa? So that is what is defining Chiwenga. How is he going to respond to these guys? We've got behind there, you can see Opam Chinguri. She's almost of the same age. Are these guys going to be able to push against the new guys who got money? So you can see Opam Chinguri, she's everywhere where Mnangagwa is with the money people. So that is Opam Chinguri with Wikino. That is Opam Chinguri with Tagwire. She's always with these guys. What is the role? What is she going to do here? So that is where we are. I hope that I've covered everything. Let's see if anyone has a question or anyone knows the mother and father of Sanyatu is now a pastor. No, Sanyatu is no one. Imagine, do you think Sanyatu can ever become a president? Is that possible? No. So Sanyatu is a deputy. Sanyatu is like, who else is a deputy? Moad is a deputy. Do you know what a leader is? A leader is unquestionable. So when you walk in a place and you're a leader, you don't have to announce yourself. So when Chiwenga arrives in a room, no one has a question about who is the leader. You understand? When Mnangagwa arrives in a room, no one has a question about who is the leader. Right. No, not that one. So now we've got two leaders. And when Tagwire arrives in a room, no one thinks there's a leader. He's not a leader. People resist his leadership. So if you're a leader, no one resists your leadership. They are not capable of resisting your leadership. So that's all I have to say. Sanyatu is no one because he missed a chance when he was a leader. Opa is so illiterate. Tuesday Matenga, that is for tomorrow. Agambakwe is going to be easy for him. It's not going to be, yes, it's not going to be easy. But the definition of a leader is someone that can eliminate all obstacles until no one is left. So until no person can stand against you, you are the leader. So you are willing to go longer. You are willing to do things that no one else wants to do. And you are willing to suppress all dissent that is around you. Then you become a leader. So at the moment, there is something that I see Chiwenga needs to do. That is to build a team. Can Chiwenga build a team? I always ask you guys, can Chiwenga build a team? Mnangagwa is a master at co-opting people. He takes people from everywhere and he puts them around himself. He converts everyone, including your friend. He's going to convert him and pay him off. So that is what we call corruption. So that is why the government of Mnangagwa is a kleptocracy. However, such a government will have no legacy. A real government is a government of influence. So Chiwenga, I believe that is someone who can be able to influence people, to make people follow you and do the right thing. So you need to have a plan. Does Chiwenga have a plan? Can Chiwenga build a team? Those are the questions that we need to answer. Guys, I think I've covered everything that I wanted to cover. Let's see. Chiwenga is talking too much Bible. Who told you Chiwenga is destined to be the next leader? Chiwenga is next in line. So when we talk about next in line, we're talking of hierarchy. So Zimbabwe is a military structure. So Zimbabwe is a military and spiritual structure. So I always tell you guys, Zimbabwe is a spiritual country. That is why you see that things don't happen in Zimbabwe at a speed and at the time we expect. So when things happen in Zimbabwe, the whole world will look at Zimbabwe. Zimbabwe is a very different country. Nothing will ever happen in Zimbabwe when no one else is looking. So the day when Mnangagwa is going to be removed, you're going to see the whole world is going to stop what they're doing and they're going to look at Zimbabwe, and it will be for a long time. Like when Mugabe was removed, the whole world, CNN, what, everyone will look at Zimbabwe that day because Zimbabwe is a spiritual center of the world. Okay, so let's look if I've left anything else. Guys, this is not everything. Go to gambagwe.com and help me with information that we've left out. And I don't think we can finish this story without mentioning, obviously, the new wife of Chiwenga. She has made a big difference. She has made him a more human person. When I talk of human, previously, there was so much fear of Chiwenga. Like everyone was afraid of Chiwenga. They would think that he was someone unapproachable, someone harsh. I think right now, many people have seen the softer side of Chiwenga. So that is meaning she has done very, very well. She has created a new kind of image for Chiwenga. And I believe that this is why you see the Chiwenga that you are seeing right now. Someone that you can almost go to like a father or a statesman. That is why Chiwenga has become that person. That when he approaches the Pope will give him the time of day. Don't play with this picture. It's very important and significant. When you see your leader standing next to the Pope, there are many, many people who have never seen the Pope in their whole life. So that is very important, and that is where we are. Okay, I would like to thank all of you for watching. Mini created a soft Chiwenga. Yeah. I'm Dara Anogona, Kuchaga, my baby. My baby, I'm Dara Akanaka, Jikuru. You can go and look, and you can see Kuti. Supermodels. Ndokwake. Right. You are a promoter, my guy. Big time. It's a birthday. And this kutaura zvangu, ndutaura birthday. Right. Let's see what else is left. I think I'm done. Guys, thank you very much for watching. I'll see you tomorrow. As you can see, we need to control the narrative in our country. So I always look at young people. And let me tell you two things that I've learned everywhere I've traveled. If you don't control capital and you don't control the media, your country is finished. So there are two things that we need to control: the media and capital. So don't forget why I spent so much time on those two things. And then we need to control the military. So if you don't control the guns, you are no one. Uri Cindy, kana uri controlling military, you are no one. And what kind of military do you want to create? You want to create a military that is so advanced, so well prepared, that everyone knows. And those are the things that you need to know. Atidivanu, abasinga understanding how you build a nation. So I think for now, let me end here. Now you have moved away from what you said in the morning about Chiwenga. No, it's different. Now we're talking about his his birthday. And then Chiwenga Akarova Muve. Muve, yes, our sponsor. Muve, support our sponsor. Guys in the UK, one packet, you get one packet free when you buy another packet of Muve. Okay. Thank you very much for watching. I'll see you guys tomorrow morning as we discuss the breaking news and the trending news in the morning. And I hope that Mundara will have a happy birthday. I want to do one of these for Mnangagwa. I've never done a Mnangagwa biography. Let me show you. Let's see if Mnangagwa was in Mozambique at the same time as Chiwenga. So let's see, when was Mnangagwa in Mozambique? When did he arrive in Mozambique? Right, so Mnangagwa arrived in the 70s after being released from prison. Right? So how come Mnangagwa was not in the high command? Do you understand? So I'm going to dig deeper. In the birthday, it comes on 14 September. Mnangagwa, it comes on 15 September. So I'm going to let you guys know about Mnangagwa. I will do the rest, or a big thing for Mnangagwa on the 15th, where we'll dig deeper into his birthday. Let's see what is happening with Mnangagwa. Mnangagwa, what was he in Mozambique? What did you do exactly in Mozambique? Was he at the front, or was he in Maputo in the hotel? Thank you very much, everyone, for watching, and a good night to you all. Shiri kumedza go ifanika anakonda taona bazo udana na tironi komanda ngoti takajamuka